Hi everybody, my name is Gert, welcome back to the workshop. Now after the big terrain pieces that I did for the last couple of videos, it's time for something smaller and a bit more detailed. The competition with Eric's hobby workshop ended on a draw. This means that we both get to review Young Sheldon. I binged the first season, here is my review. This calls for a little tribute piece. Ladies and gentlemen, all hail Sheldon. I was contemplating using an older terrain piece to paint on the graffiti, however, an overlord such as Young Sheldon needs its own dedicated terrain piece, so I first started by building a piece of wall. For this I used 1 centimeter thick foam board without the cardboard at the sides. Much easier, much faster. I want a couple of different textures on the wall, so at one side I'm going to keep it plain and simple where the graffiti piece is going to come, and then at the other side I cut in this line to simulate concrete panels. Even though I'm going to go for a flat surface at the front of the wall, I still want to add some texture, so I cut in a small line with my hobby knife. Then with a metal ruler I push the sides down. And this is going to break up this wall section, make it a little bit more interesting. Time to add a bunch more texture. For this I use my trusty lava rock. You can use whatever you want. I can recommend a simple ball of crumped up aluminium foil. Use my hobby knife to get little pieces of the wall out. Keep continuing this process until you are happy with the result. Time to add some detailing. This is an electrical box that I made, video about this coming soon. I also added a piece of 1mm thick styrene rod, glued down with a bit of PVA glue. Then at the top of the wall I'm going to add some rebar, some old guitar strings that I had laying around. I play the guitar, so that's easy to get old strings. However, you can buy these very cheaply and per string in the store. Or else get yourself a musician friend. I first use my needle tool to make a little hole, and then with a little bit of PVA glue on the guitar string you can simply push these into the foam board and allow it to dry thoroughly. With the basic wall done, it's time to lay down a layer of PVA glue mixed in with a little bit of black primer. Simply paint this all over the piece, and I use a bit of sodium bicarbonate to give a bit more texture. Now that the wall is painted in a primer, it's time to make a base. Normally I go for MDF, however I ordered some extruded PVC. Great material to work with, you can sand it, cut it. It won't warp when painted. So this was the perfect opportunity to use this material and experiment a little bit with it. Cut into shape, glued down the wall, and then I painted the base black. After sufficient drying time, it's time to lay down a bunch of paints. I'm going to go for cement gray at the back of the wall, medium sea gray at the front, and then for a simple highlight I mix in a little bit of ivory. After drying, it's time for a bit of washes. Black wash at the back of the wall, where I remove the excess with a damp rag. At the front I do the same, however here I mix in a little bit of dark green and I place the wash at the bottom of the wall, and with my fingers I can simply smear it open to get the desired effect. Last painting step for now are the metal parts. I use simply gunmetal on the rebar and on the electrical box, then a weathering of sepia, anhydrous earthshade and typhus corrosion. This is basically my standard recipe for rust. In one of the next videos I'm going to experiment a little bit more with rust textures. Okay, that's it for the basic work on the wall. Time to go and add the smug little face of young Sheldon. So this is the design I made for young Sheldon. I started by making a pencil drawing, however I noticed that I was pushing in texture to the foam board. This will not do. So I decided to ditch the pencil and just start laying down a bunch of paint. I started by laying down the basic shapes of the face and the hair. I have never done freehand work before. Best tip I can give you is to just simply do it. What's the worst that can happen? Maybe you're going to have to repaint some parts, but so be it. I can also highly recommend you go and check out some art YouTubers where they explain more in detail and more professionally how to paint a portrait. It's simply a matter of building up the shapes and the colors. This is the filtered picture that I used, that I based off this work. Now while I'm building up the basic features of the face, nose, eyes, mouth, it's time for a apology to Mr. Thomas Murray. I'm very sorry to mispronounce your name in the previous video. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much to all the patrons that I have the honor to announce. Midwinter Minis, Stefan Winter, Chris Grob, Leopold Steinmetz, Jim P, and Alex Truman. Welcome to the fold. Thank you very much for the support. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, I have a couple of links in the description below where you can express your support. Or, of course, you can always start by subscribing, giving me a like, maybe leave me a comment in the comment section below. I'm here building up the lighter parts of the face. To make this a little bit easier, I have my iPad with me so I can constantly cross-check with the picture so I'm laying down the colors right. What I'm not showing in the video is how I had to do the mouth several times. I did the eyes a couple of times until I was happy with the result. That's the beauty of these kinds of projects. If it's not good, just lay down a new layer of paint and start again. With the face basically done, I lay down a couple of guidelines for the clothing and for the little horns. These were filled in with charcoal. However, once I started to lay down the flames at the back, I decided that I didn't want to keep the clothing because I wanted to do some more flames at the front. No problem, simply paint over it. I started the flames by laying down an outline of charcoal, and then I simply filled these in with carmine red, a layer of orange red, and finally some light yellow. For the final step in the painting process, I go over all the lines that I first laid down with a layer of black to give a bit of separation. And then it's time to finish the base layer of PVA glue. Simply dunk the model into the pot with Scrubland by Luke's APS. And then I want to blend in the base with the wall section For this I use a little bit of rubble dust pigment to simulate, you guessed it, dust. And then finally some tagging, a simple black marker. I stole a design from the internet and I simply drew it on at the back of the wall. Simple, fast. You'll see this technique coming much more in the future. And that is it for this project. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching. If you like what you see, please like, subscribe, you know what to do. I'll see you very soon for a new video here on Dark Matter Workshop. Till then, bye.